Hello and welcome to the Monthly Marquee. I'm your host, Bart Lovins, and with me today, we're welcoming a surprise special guest co-host, Mr. Braden Hall from John Hardin High School. Braden is our PAC Spotlight this month, and you'll be seeing his interview with our other PAC Spotlight, Tracy Arfin, later in the program. And right now, he and I are introducing to you our first guest, Miss Carrie Lewis from Hardin County Playhouse. Carrie, how are you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
Doing okay. We've had a pretty good morning.
Oh yeah, busy morning, but pretty good.
Yes.
Braden was sharing earlier, before we went on air, that he's not as familiar with the Playhouse as you and I are. Mm-hmm. Did you want to ask Carrie anything about that?
Yeah, so especially with like students who are just now getting into the arts, so what is the Hardin County Playhouse? Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
We've been in the area for over 50 years now, and it is a community theater. So what we do is we have a production schedule set up, and we have guest directors, and we have people that volunteer from the community to be part of our stage manager and props and so forth, and set and costumes, all those things, as well as, you know, actors in these productions. And we don't have any kind of limitations on who can audition and who can perform, as long as they're willing to put the time in. So, you know, it's a great segue from like school productions into the community.
Yeah.
So.
And especially too with students, like, is there a certain age range? I know you were saying like everyone can join, so what is the youngest that you've ever had with the shows?
Well, it depends, of course. If we have a production that involves children, I think the youngest we've ever done is like 6 years old. It depends on the role. A lot of times we'll have, you know, like an ensemble piece, and we can have, as long as they can follow stage direction and either sing or learn lines or movements, you know, they can perform, you know, if the play requires that. So.
Well, and that's dovetails right into my first question. You guys have just finished The Sisters Grimm.
Yes.
You had quite a lot of students involved in that.
Yes, and that was very, very successful. And that was an original piece that was written by one of our own board members, Katie Van Zyl, and Kristen Hendrickson, who is also a board member, was the director, and Michelle Blair, who is also on the board, was a co-director. So they put that on, had a wonderful bunch of children, very entertaining. I saw the show, I was only able to see it one time. It was very funny, very cute, and the kids did a great job. They loved it.
How many children in the cast?
Oh, I think we had like 16.
60?
16.
16.
Yeah. No. 16, yeah.
Bunch of little ones.
Because that's a small stage.
Yeah, that would be tough to do 60. But,
And what were their age ranges? Any idea?
we had 6 to 13, I think it was. So.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity. One of the things that I personally like about the Playhouse is that under normal circumstances, which we all know is not where we are right now, under normal circumstances, the Performing Arts Center would have maybe 2 productions that students could be involved in. Youth Theater only has the 1, whereas the Playhouse might have 6 or 7 opportunities a year to be involved in something.
That's great.
Right. So it gives you a lot of stage experience and working with different directors and different types of styles of writing and things that you couldn't do, you know, necessarily within the school system.
Yeah, they can sometimes do more challenging pieces as far as subject matter than you would see at Youth Theater or with us as the Pro-Am series. And speaking of which, what's going on at the Playhouse right now?
Well, right now we're in the middle of rehearsal. We are going to be putting on production called The Revenge of the HCP Halloween, which is written by Ron Blair, who is on our board as well. And it's just a series of skits, kind of like in the Saturday Night Live genre of doing things. So it's going to be a little bit more adult humor, and it's going to be very funny and very fast moving. And we're going to use that as our Halloween show, obviously. And we're in production now, and our opening night is October 15th. And we'll be showing it October 15th through the 17th, and then the 21st through the 24th.
And are tickets on sale yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
They will be. We will be announcing those fairly soon. And you'll be able to get them through Ticket Leap from our website, or you know, you can go to our Facebook page and keep up to date on all the times and different things that we'll be doing there. So it should be a good time.
And can you share any news about what's coming up down the road with the Playhouse?
Well, tentatively, we are planning on doing something called All Together Now, and it's a special offering that will allow us to do a series of beautiful songs and things from different Broadway musicals and so forth. And that's going to be probably just a 3-night event, and we will probably have auditions for that later. We're kind of, everything that we are doing right now, for the most part, is very tentative because it depends on what's going on with the current pandemic that seems to be very ongoing, and what the school systems are doing and what the college is allowing. And I know in the Sisters Grimm, there was a few people that complained because we were required to ask our patrons to wear masks. And there was a few folks, not very many really, that were kind of upset at having to wear masks in the production, and I get it and everything. However, that's something that was, put into place by the CDC guidelines and by the school system, and we abide by those things just as you do. So,
yeah, you're under the governance of the organization
right.
that you're working with.
That's right. So we do what we must do, and we make it work, and we have so far. So there you go.
How can people learn more?
If you want to learn more about the Hardin County Playhouse and everything that we do, you can check out our website, which is hardincountyplayhouse.com. Most current stuff is on our Facebook page, Hardin County Playhouse.
Great.
So.
Thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome. Good
really
to see you all.
Appreciate it, Carrie.
Nice meeting you,
Nice
too.
meeting you.
Next up on the Monthly Marquee, we'll have the Zoom conversation I had with Elizabethtown Performing Arts Center's Carmen Caldera-Brasca. Our next guest on the Monthly Marquee is Miss Carmen Caldera-Brasca with the Elizabethtown Performing Arts Center. We're having some technical difficulties, so I am filming this with my phone that I got 2 days ago. So hold on tight. We're going for a ride. Whee! So Carmen, how are you doing? What's going on over there?
Still just, the roller coaster goes on. We are starting to get our drama students involved again in person, masked, of course, and socially distanced, and just trying to get them back into the groove of acting. And also trying to plan, we want to finish 1984, which we were a day away from Tech Week when everything shut down. And so we are bound and determined to do it one way or another, even if we have to do it outside. So
that is an option. It's lovely out.
It is, and we're looking at spring anyway.
Oh, okay.
Because you have to remember, we've lost 2 years worth of seniors since the show was cast. And so we have to recast and order new scripts and probably get different costumes for the new actors if they don't fit the costumes we had, because we were ready to go. So we kind of have to just back up, restart, and but I think everybody's excited just to know that we're gonna make it happen one way or another.
People are geared up and they're ready to go. Audiences as well, but it still remains our responsibility as directors to determine the best, safest way to make these things happen. It's wonderful to know that everyone's excited and ready to go, and we don't want to dig our heels in, but at the same time, we have a responsibility to run a safe facility.
Yes, and that's exactly what I told them is, just because everybody else might be doing something doesn't mean that we're going to do that. My priority is their health and their safety. And depending on where we are with COVID in March, we may do the show masked and with microphones, because there's an intimacy in that show that would be lost with everyone 6 feet apart. So we would be safer wearing masks and using microphones, and we're going to figure it out. But we're gonna make that happen. And our district has early release Fridays, where each school gets out 2 hours earlier, and then students that wanted to stay can stay for extra help with homework and a program. And I'm leading the program for TK Stone Middle School this month, and we're focusing on Come From Away, the Broadway musical that is premiering on Apple TV. September 10th. And so we are working with a program called I'm an Islander from Away, and working on you know, the story of that show about empathy and coming together to help others and working together for the common good. And I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun.
I'm looking forward to hearing how that goes. I've been aware of that educational program connected to that musical, and am very interested in pursuing that when that comes around to us in other formats.
Yes, it's very exciting.
Mhm.
You know, we're going to do some improv because that's the fun part. But then, you know, we have an activity each Friday with a different, kind of using a different song from each show to explore the story and how its common denominator with the current pandemic.
Understood. Understood.
So I think it'll be very interesting.
Well, what else? Anything else going on, Carmen, other than these two really large projects?
We're just trying to feel our way. You know, right
sure.
now we are still not open to the public, and that kind of leads everything for us. You know, we're going ahead and we're putting things on the calendar, and then we're just in a wait and see mode. You know, will insurance allow us to even open and have an audience? How many can we safely have? Are we going to have to do tickets for things that we've never done tickets for before? Because that's something we're not set up for. So that would be a whole new exploration. So we're still just kind of riding that roller coaster.
What's nice is that with the advent of the internet and everything, there are so many more ticketing options available than there used to be. It is not the hurdle that it used to be for us, especially for school systems. So I would encourage you to do ticketing because that's something I believe in, but you have to do what's right for your facility and stuff. But how can people learn more about what's going on there, Carmen?
Our Facebook page. It has been quiet recently because we haven't been doing too much. We had our summer theater workshops for elementary and middle and high school. But other than that, we've been pretty quiet. But our Facebook page is Elizabethtown Performing Arts Center. And as we have news to post, that's where it would be.
Excellent. Thank you. And apologies for the technical difficulties. Really appreciate your input, Carmen.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Welcome to our next segment where we are introducing Sarah Vaughn, who is at the State Theater and represents the State Theater. How are you today?
I am good, Braden. This is a nice change of pace, Bart.
Yeah.
Fun.
So what is the State Theater for people who don't know or who aren't around here who are just now moving in?
Of course. You know, the Historic State Theater has been a part of downtown Elizabethtown and the staple of E-Town since 1942. It was built in 1942.
That's older than me.
Even Bart was not around. So, in 1942, a fellow purchased the property, built the theater, and it was a movie theater, and that was the main use of the building. And so it ran for multiple years, and then in 1982, the last movie that was shown there was E.T., and the theater was shut down. And of course, at that point, other movie theaters, other types of venues were really becoming very popular. Yeah. And because of the size of it and the change in technology, it just wasn't as relevant anymore. Yeah. And so it closed down and really became a storage place. The city of Elizabethtown eventually purchased the property, and a lot of volunteers had stepped over, and Bart may know a lot more about the history at that point. Moving on into the 90s, the city actually renovated, added on the gallery, which is now known today as the West Banco Gallery, and also an additional theater in the back, which at the time it's been a gym, it's been all kinds of fun things. So multiple businesses have ran through there, but in the mid to late 90s, early 2000s is when the renovation started back on the theater. And so today, you walk in there and it was revitalized and renovated back to look as original as possible.
It's like stepping back in time.
Yeah.
It is.
It's really, this is where you would have gone to see the movie Arsenic and Old Lace.
Nice.
That's what it feels.
Yeah.
I mean, you really feel like you're going. Braden is in Arsenic and Old Lace at
Yes.
our space right now.
Yes.
So just a funny time.
Yeah.
It's like you were saying, it's like, oh yeah, that's where we should go see the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a perfect movie there, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it's a very unique location. It's too small to do certain things, which is why we're so glad places like the PAC is in Hardin County, because you have the size for the larger plays and things like that. But we show a lot of movies there. We do a lot of concerts. We have 3 different rental facilities within the historic State Theater complex.
That's crazy.
So you can have your baby shower, your conference, or you can, put on a private movie showing for your kid's birthday. But it's very versatile. It's very relevant.
Yeah.
And because it is so beautiful, and it is like stepping back in time, folks, it's definitely a staple and a favorite place in Elizabethtown. So in 2019, it had been ran before that by a nonprofit board. And so as most privately owned theaters, not that this one was, but as most theaters of that caliber struggled through the years. And so in 2019, the city said, you know what, from a financial standpoint, it makes the most sense that we, the city, run the theater. So it still has its own nonprofit board and those things, which are mostly comprised of city employees, but we utilize a ton of volunteers still. But it's so we the city are running it. We have our own staff over there, and it's booming. I mean, we have
That's good.
full
during
calendar.
COVID times too. Like, it's crazy. I
It
guess
is
it wasn't hard during
crazy.
that time.
And
especially the
yes.
community that you have, like with our community, like all that service that's still there, and people wanting to give back to such, and going back in time to. It's crazy when you tell people, yeah, this was built all the way back then, and it's just like, wow.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It is crazy. It is crazy, but it is. It's a very unique, awesome building. So thanks for asking that, because
No
I don't
problem.
get to answer that question a lot. But yeah.
We were just talking about dealing with COVID, and we've all kind of been taking 3 steps forward, 2 steps back through this whole process. By the time this airs, you may have had Ronnie Millsap on your stage.
That's right.
And we say may, because again, everything keeps changing and evolving.
That's right.
Through all of this. When was he originally scheduled to perform?
Oh my gosh, I don't even remember. Sometime in 2020. He's been rescheduled 3 or 4 times now.
Yeah.
His show, The Chicks with Hits, which was originally Terry Clark, that's evolved into something bigger and better, actually. That's supposed to be executed in November the 6th. We've got Aaron Tippin. You don't know any of these, I'm sure. And that's okay. Tell your mom, tell your grandma. But and then we've got Aaron Tippett in December. Between there, we have a Journey tribute show in October, and we've just several rental. We have Billy Dean coming as well, which is a rental concert. But those have all been rescheduled over and over, and so we're just like, please I keep telling people this is the longest concert series of my life. Like, we're still in it.
A 2-year-long concert series.
Yeah.
Well, and because things are evolving so much, and you really have got to stay on top of the information, how can people stay alert to the changes and the developments and the great new things that you're able to bring in because of all of this?
The number one way is social media, Facebook. Mainly. We are on Instagram. We stay relevant on Instagram. But if you like the State Theater's Facebook page, we have a marketing coordinator, Priscilla Scarborough, who does a phenomenal job. As soon as we know the information, that's the first place you're going to find it. And then, of course, our website is updated, but we do primarily hit Facebook first, because we have found that that's where I want to say 100%, but it's not.
That's people. I was going to say that's preaching to the choir. That's where your choir is.
Yes, that's where the choir is on Facebook, and when they want to buy tickets, then they get on the website. So look up the State Theater on Facebook, and just like the page, do all of those things, and stay in tune there. We also attach a lot of things to Elizabethtown City Events page as well, and then you'll also find out about the other side of things that we do, which is our festivals and our large outdoor events, and we kind of combine them all under that as well. And then, of course, our website, thestate270.org, and that you'll click right through, purchase your tickets, do all that good stuff all online. We're all up to date. We're very high-techy, or try to be. We try to be. We pretend to be. So yeah. So stay tuned on all of that, and as things change, we let our ticket holders, we let the public know immediately. And of course, we're in tune with all of the local media as well. So your radio station, the newspaper, all that. So
Great. Sarah, thank you so much.
thank you guys. Great job, Braden.
Thank you.
You have a future in this.
Thank you. And it's nice meeting you.
You too.
Now, stay tuned. We're going to see Braden and Tracy Arflin, a Bluegrass Middle School teacher. They are both our PAC spotlights for this month, and we filmed their interview on the stage for Arsenic and Old Lace. Hello, and welcome to the Monthly Marquee. We're coming to you from the Brewster household, circa 1941, and the set for Arsenic and Old Lace. We're beginning with our PAC spotlight, and we welcome Tracy Arflin from Bluegrass Middle School and Braden Hall from John Hardin High School. Gentlemen, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is a pretty comfortable gig right here, isn't it?
Heck yeah.
It seems like home. I've spent so much time here in the last 4 or 5 weeks.
I was going to say, we started rehearsals right at the beginning of August. As we're taping this, it's the 1st of September. Performances will be the middle of September. Tell our audience the roles that you play. Tracy?
I play a 1941 Brooklyn police cop who tries to keep order amongst chaos. So far removed from being a middle school teacher, I don't know how this happened.
Well, that was my other question. You've been a middle school teacher there at Bluegrass for how many years now?
20 years and 15 days.
Counting.
Only all the time.
Okay. And you also do other things in the community. I know at least you used to referee games.
Yeah, I was a high school baseball umpire for over 34, 35 years. Had the good fortune to umpire a couple of state tournament final games, and I really enjoyed it a lot, and there's some similarities between that and the theater that I didn't know were even there.
Yeah, interesting how that happens. Yeah. And Braden, how did you come to be involved with this, and who do you play?
So I'm Officer O'Hara, and I'm basically a Brooklyn cop who wants to be a playwright for the theater. And I came into this by some people in youth theater, and you, Bart. I know you were telling me you should just come do it, it'll be fun. And so I came in audition and got O'Hara, and I was pretty excited.
So you were saying you're a student here at John Hardin High School,
Yes.
the building that we share. What grade are you in?
I'm a junior at John.
And how did you get involved in theater?
I got involved in theater with Parker Thompson, who does a lot of this, and he was like, you should come out and do youth theater of Hardin County. And so at that point, before COVID, it was doing Hello Dolly. And so I came to the workshops and auditioned, and basically I just got Cornelius, and that was my first real theater moment in production that I did.
Had you done choir or anything before that?
I did Missoula Children's Theater stuff.
Oh, okay.
And so, and then I do John Hardin Choir, and then I did a lot of music at Roneyville Elementary School where I went before I left, and all that fun stuff.
Very cool. Tracy, I already know, but for those who don't, how did you get involved in theater? Because it was not by choice.
No, you backdoored me. That's what happened. In 2006, you were getting ready to start auditions for Thoroughly Modern Millie, and my wife's the real talent in the family, and you contacted her about the possibility of a role. She mentioned to you that she'd have to clear it with me because we had just been married in 2004.
That's right, you had just gotten married.
And she said, let me talk it over with Tracy to make sure it's not a conflict. And I remember she told me that you said, well, what does he do? Does he do anything? And she said, no, not much. And you said, well, bring him along anyway. Maybe we can find a spot for him. You roped me in to auditioning, and then you offered me rope pulling.
Yes.
Since we're talking about roping in,
Yes.
you offered me rope pulling, and 3 weeks later, I had 3 parts. And after that, I was in the live well because you reeled me right in.
Now, Braden, I want to touch on one thing with you really quickly. You're fairly new to theater, been doing it just a few years here, and now you're in this semi-professional production.
Yeah.
And I already know the answer, but I think it'll be interesting to our audience. What has been the biggest challenge for you?
My dialect,
Okay.
as going from my Rineyville country voice, as you can tell, from going to Brooklynese and getting that down good. And it was a challenge at first, and a lot of it is too because, you know, how we have talked about in rehearsal how there's different levels, and like how you're more into Brooklynese.
It's easy for you to say.
Yeah. If you're like how Officer O'Hara is, and how he's not the brightest or not how he was raised, and it's hard because you have to be more into it than more proper than normal New York people are. And I would say that would be the biggest challenge I've had, especially doing it with, you know, semi-professional and like all these great actors that it's crazy to do it with. I'm like, man, I got to impress all of them too. And
Well,
like,
and it's for me, it's you know, I've got an adult amateur and I've got a student amateur, and you're sharing the stage with professionals.
Yeah.
And I don't want you to stick out like a sore thumb.
Yeah.
I want it to blend so that everybody's going, well, that's got to be an impression. You know, point at
Yeah.
you, go, well, listen to that dialect. He's got to be a professional.
Yeah.
So that's my goal, is to kind of make it one and the same.
Yeah.
And that's part of my motivation, too. I don't want them pointing a finger. I don't want to be the squeaky wheel. And above all else, I don't want to disappoint you. Because you put me in this spot, and I hope you had good reasons for doing it, and I don't want to let you down. And that's why, it's like I was saying about umpiring. You're only as good as your next call. When you're umpiring a ball game, nobody cares what call you made in the third inning.
Yeah. Right.
It's now the seventh inning, and they want you to make the right call. Well, every show, you're expected to make the right dialogue, the right motion, because nobody cares what you did before.
Right. They weren't there. Yeah. Yeah. It's. I really, really enjoy working with all of the cast for this show. It's been a lot of fun, and I'm anxious for people to see it. What do you think is going to be the big takeaway for the audience when they come see it? What's the moment or the feeling that you think they're going to go away with?
I would say, you know, especially just the feeling of kind of being back to normal, but especially with the show, like, you know, if it's something to take away, like never, you know, look around the corner, because, you know, with how our story is and with our aunts and all this stuff, it's like you kind of like got to watch behind the scenes and stuff. But like, you know, seeing how even with the pandemic and all this, like we can still go up here and put on a show in the best way possible with or without masks.
Right.
And it's just like, especially with, you know, me as an amateur and coming out here and working with these professionals, it's just a great way to get new experiences from all the sides.
Yeah. Tracy?
Well, the pandemic, you never know what's around the corner. And in this show, you don't know what's around the corner.
Yeah.
And you're surprised that in this lovely setting with some lovely aunts,
Lovely. Dear
that there's
women.
there's danger in the cellar. And you don't know it. You hope for the best. You wear your mask, but you still don't know.
Yeah.
Well, what we do know, thanks to you guys and the rest of the cast, is that we've got a great show, and we're really looking forward to have an audience. And that is where you come in. Tickets for Arsenic and Old Lace are on sale now at thepack.net. Be sure to come and see Tracy Arflin and Braden Hall, along with all the rest of the cast, for some chills, some thrills, and maybe a few spills. That's going to wrap things up this month. We really thank you for being part of our audience. We thank Braden Hall for joining me as co-host and our guests, and we will see you next month on the Monthly Marquee.
Coming! Hello, Brophy. He's gonna write my play with me.
Did you have to tie him up to get him to listen to you?
No,
Why didn't you read in, Joe? The whole force is out looking for you.
Did they sing it for me?
No, I didn't know you was here. I came to warn the old ladies that there's trouble. Teddy's blowing that bugle again in the middle of the night.